Hey, what's up, guys? It's CJ. I'm here with Mike and Richard, and we're going to bring you a special episode of Superhero Sundays where, of course, we're going to get into WandaVision, but also we're going to celebrate Black History Month in a special way. So with all that being said, roll the intro. WandaVision. We've been following the whole series so far, and now we're up to episode 5. And episode 5 was another good one. In this episode, you kind of see Wanda starting to kind of lose control of, her bubble, her, reality. And you also have some surprises and some twists in this episode. But I really enjoyed the episode a lot. What did you guys think of episode 5? Rich, what'd you think of it?
Episode 5 was, it's like little by little getting more mind-blowing as it continues. It's nice to see that you got Vision, who's now confronting Wanda with everything what's going on. You have Sword that's starting to piece things together, but they're still trying to figure things out. And then this little twist at the end. Yeah, I was like, whoa, the casting is just great, man. I love the casting.
Yeah, the brother came back, man, at the end, Petra. Like I said, there was a lot of surprises that just out of nowhere. It's like, what? And things are coming together even more. And again, things are spiraling out of control. And Mike, what do you think about episode 5 and how things are going now for Wanda in that bubble?
So, a lot happened, as we all know.
A lot happened.
A
lot to take in, but honestly, I don't know if it's really her losing control more than she's losing power.
I agree, because Darcy was saying like that's like extreme amount of power that she's never shown before, even in the past. And so like everybody is controlled by her. Every single thing is pretty much kind of controlled by her mind.
Sooner or later, I think she's just losing control of things. Not that she's like just losing conscience or concentration. I think she's actually losing that amount of power to take on thousands of people, miles upon miles of areas.
Yeah, it's like a 6-mile radius or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that, and there's thousands of individuals in that city or town. So I mean, I'm sure it's taking a toll. It's taking a toll on her body, on her mind, and she's just getting tired, and she's starting to lose power.
This power, she's like dwindling down. I remember in some of the other movies, the Avenger movies, like after she did something, she would kind of like faint or something, or kind of like almost pass out because it took up like so much strength. I think I remember that. Is that right?
I think in either in Endgame or Infinity War, when she lifted like something really heavy, afterwards she was like almost like exhausted. You can tell that she was really exhausted. But what she's doing now is not really heavy lifting, just a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of mental capacity.
She's spread out really thin across all these thousands of people. And as you saw from the first episode, people losing or glitching out because she can't really keep it. More and more we see people glitching out. Things are happening. People are being woken up of this episode with Vision. So you see a lot of that, as well as Sword trying to paint a picture that she's a terrorist.
I noticed that.
She's doing this in a malicious way. She's not doing this because of past trauma or anything like that. And she's just doing all this stuff to be selfish, doing all this stuff to harm other people because she doesn't care. Obviously, she, kicked out, Monica Rambeau, and they could have hurt her or whatever, doesn't know, but, they think that she's just the villain.
Yeah, Rambeau and Agent Wu, they were like trying to defend her, while Agent Wu was like, explaining her backstory and what's going on. And Sword was just like trying to paint it in a negative way. like you said, trying to make her into a terrorist, and they're like, no, that's not kind of what's going on, but okay. So yeah, Sword, they don't trust her. Like I said, they're trying to make her into the villain.
Well, yeah, because they have that video clip of her breaking into the Sword facility, right? And they stole Vision's body. So and that's kind of weird, because why does she need Vision's body? Is that more of a like you said, a selfish thing, that she wants Vision for herself? Or is she using some type of energy source from it or from somewhere else that's kind of helping her create this city or this reality? So
yeah,
those are some of the questions I have.
Like Mike said in the last episode, how you mentioned that the missing person case, we know now is Vision. The body's missing because Wanda took it. She stole it. She broke into that facility and took his body. But why she did that, like I said, maybe it could be selfish reasons, that she wants her husband. She wanted to create a family with him. But in the episode, she said she doesn't know how this started. Like, she was like, I don't know how all this got created.
Maybe she found out that they're doing this to him. They cut him up into different pieces. They experimenting on him. They're doing all these things. Maybe she went in there to save him and give him a proper burial. Not that, she's, doing this for a selfish reason. Maybe she found out that they were doing this because, do you think Captain America or Iron Man, do you think if they were alive, do you think they would be okay with somebody else doing that? So,
yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. Like, why was his body in that lab anyway? Like, why didn't they give him a burial like they did Iron Man and things like that? Like, why did they take his body away?
Well, I think they said something to the fact that like it was his wish or something like that.
And then in the beginning, like the very first episode, the first episode when Monica Rambeau was talking to Taylor Hayward, the director, he said that Sword was going into robotics, AI, and nanotech. All that is Vision.
Yeah.
AI, he's a robot, and he has, vibranium nanotech on his body. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, so, I think Taylor was saying like his wishes were that he didn't want to be weaponized, or something like that.
That's what they were doing.
Captain Rambeau, she says, when she first kind of got out of the bubble and they were doing tests on her, they were like, what did you feel? Do you remember anything? And she was saying that she just felt like grief. I guess she felt what Wanda was kind of feeling. What do you guys think about that?
Seems logical. I mean, Wanda's inside your mind. How can she not share her grief or her feelings? Or it's like a two-way connection. She's manipulating you, but you're also able to access, her emotions, her memories, and stuff like that. So,
and the coworker of Vision, he said the same thing. Like, he's in so much pain, and he was just like, "Make her stop, please, make her stop." And then Vision had to, put him back in his place.
No, he didn't say who. He just said she.
In that moment when he was with Norm and he started freaking out, that's when it looked like Vision started to put it together that when she said she knew that he meant Wanda, right? Because the next scene, or when they're in their kitchen, that's when he finally confronts her.
Yeah, I thought they were going to duel it out for a minute because they started flying in the air, and Vision got really angry.
He's one of the things that I thought was pretty funny is that when he was asking all the questions, that she made the credits roll. Like,
yes, like she's trying to end the show.
Yeah. Like she didn't want to deal with it, but he kept asking her the question, like, what's outside of Westview? And, everything escalated to a point where it looked like they were about to just go at each other. But then something just magically happens where it draws the attention away from the conflict to calm everything down.
Yep.
So it's just...
Or she rewinds it, right?
Yeah. So is this Wanda doing this to just calm things down and throw another monkey in the wrench? Or is it somebody else stopping this from happening. Because if this happens and Wanda and Vision go at it, it's gonna end this whole pocket reality.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I also noticed because this is pretty much the end of the show when this happened, and then her brother Pietro shows up at the door. I noticed when Darcy went to go look at the TV, it was going on that the alarm was still going on, like there was another breach. So maybe like there was a breach that, because when Wanda first came out to go, confront Sword, the alarm went off and it was like there was a breach, something's going on, some kind of action. And when Pietro came, there was another alarm was going on again. So I don't know if it was continuation of the alarm from when Wanda came out and it came back in, or if there's a new breach, like someone went into that bubble and then made Pietro appear or something. So maybe someone, like I said, outside the bubble is controlling things and making things, like I said, a distraction of what's going on.
Paying attention. Look at you paying attention.
Seriously, I was like, wait a minute, the alarm is like going off. I was like, why is it still going on? And where did Pietro come from,
Yeah.
So.
And it makes sense because I think this episode was in the 80s or is portraying the 80s.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, the first movie that Pietro showed up, or this one, was in Days of Future Past, which I think took place in the 70s. And then Age of Apocalypse was in the 80s. So this fits perfect for him to be in it. Because if you remember in the beginning of the episode, they said that Wanda was born in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't bring in her MCU brother because he's not born yet. And even if he was born, he's only going to be like 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense that they brought this Pietro because he's already grown and similar to her age. I think that's another great, like, linking everything, that the timelines are kind of like similar.
They're all lining up. That is pretty crazy. If everything lines up like that's perfectly, wow.
And it's starting to show that bridge of how they're going to start introducing the X-Men into MCU.
Yes.
I that actor who plays her brother, and I love that dude. That guy's awesome. What's his name? Is it Alex? Evan Peters.
There you go.
Evan Peters.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and the wife, we just finished binge watching all of the American Horror Stories, and he's awesome in that show.
I haven't seen any of his other work, but he was hilarious in X-Men. I thought he was like, he kind of stole the show. And was the Days of Future Past?
Days of Future Past.
In Age of Apocalypse.
But yeah, definitely found it very interesting that they found that they brought that that version of Pietro versus the one from Age of Ultron that was introduced to us.
Like I said, I think he's a good cast, and them linking X-Men into these movies. I hope they obviously they're going to keep them, but hopefully they bring some other actors back into it and things just flow perfectly, which I think will, because the MCU writers are amazing. They're great. So I'm excited to see how they bring in the other X-Men and who they bring to cast and for those movies or for the shows. I don't know what they want to do.
This edition of Pietro just seems too easy. I don't know if that's the word, but too like perfectly placed to mean that he's gonna stay. I think, like you said, that there was an alarm going off and then he showed up. I think it's not who we think it is.
You think it could be a scroll?
It could be. It could be one that's helping with the situation, or it could be finally Mephisto showing his face, but as somebody to help control the situation that's going on.
Wow.
No, we have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea because anything that enters that bubble, right? Doesn't it change its form into whatever Wanda wants it to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like Geraldine, she became a 70s person. The drone turned into a helicopter. The agent who went underground turned into a beekeeper.
Just like you noticed in that episode, she was telling her twin boys that she was also a twin. So
yeah,
it just seems like it was just too perfectly placed to just be what we think it is.
Yeah, like you said, Disney how they write, or their writers, they always do something really tricky and something like you would never think of. So you could be right. It could be Mephisto, coming in and doing something to calm Wanda down. So the way he does that is by being her brother. That kind of makes sense to me. But we'll see what happens. And even Darcy was like, she recasted Pietro? Like, that's not Pietro that we know about.
Yeah, so I think that's just gonna be something else. And apparently they said there was another like hidden actor that's gonna cameo in one of the shows. So people are thinking that it's gonna be another X-Men.
Something else I noticed about, talking about people and future, cast members coming in. Captain Rambo, she mentioned an aerospace engineer. She was like, because they were trying to figure out how to get back in there without, things getting altered. She's like, I have a person in mind that's an aerospace engineer. You guys have any?
Who might be up for the challenge? Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like, who would that be?
There's only two that I can think of. One is Reed Richards.
I was going to say that, Fantastic Four. But from one of the videos that I saw where they actually brought that up as well, is that's kind of a like low-key way to bring in somebody as great or as popular as the first family of Marvel, Oh, I'm going to send him this text. No, it's something that you pronounce like, no, I know the perfect man, Reed Richards, for this. Like something that's name drop that's going to be like, oh, snap. You just say who I think she said. But then it could be one of the scrolls that she knew when she was a kid. That's a good point too. Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that one.
They'll be able to, work on something that's out of this world or something like that. But it would be cool if it was Reed Richards, though. I mean,
I wanted to be Reed Richards, so I want to say it's him, man, because that's pretty cool. I mean, we've seen it before too in Doctor Strange. When if you remember when Doctor Strange, how he got into his car accident, while he was driving, they were like giving him cases of these people that are kind of hurt or something's going on, and they gave him this one case, and it kind of like shocked him or puzzled him. He's like, why does that person look like that? I forgot what the case was, but it was, some people were like mentioning rumors saying like it's, this character or this person, but it puzzled him and they dropped that name or that case into the MCU. But then after that, he crashes and they never bring it back up again.
It's funny you say that. One of the cases that I do bring up to him is actually a War Machine.
Ah, yeah, it was. Yeah, that was one of the War Machines with his legs, right?
Yeah, he broke his back and his legs, and then he was like, "Nah, I don't want to do that." He's already, lost cause. And he got in the car accident. But yeah, he's one of them that they spoke about. I'm
gonna say it's Reed Richards, but we'll see in the future. Episode 5, it was good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. But is there going to be an episode 6, or are they going to be taking a break? I don't know what how the series is going.
I think it's 12 episodes. So this next episode is the season finale, the mid-season finale.
Okay.
So I think after this one, it might be a break.
Okay.
Oh man, so they're gonna leave us with a cliffhanger.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah, but that's all right though, because we have some more stuff coming up, like Falcon Winter Soldier. So that's going to start next month. And they just this week during the Super Bowl and everything, they had a new promo for episode 1. So I didn't get a chance to watch. I believe Mike said he watched it. How was it, Mike? From the old promos, I just saw that the villain from the first from Winter Soldier is back. That guy that controls Winter Soldier, was that him? I saw his face at one point. Am I wrong?
I think the major overall villain is Captain Zemo. He was in Civil War. He's the one that made everybody against each other.
Is he the one that got the book that controlled Winter Soldier, right? Was that him?
Yes, he's the one that got the book. Yes, Captain Zemo. He's got the iconic purple mask or something like that, and he leads a team of really high-class soldiers. But this seems to be very much of a buddy cop show, which is really interesting. A good mix between the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Steve Rogers can't really appoint the next Captain America. It's a government position, so I think it's going to give you a chance where you get to see who this new person that they select. I'm sure it's going to be some dude that's not really, worthy of it, and at the end of the show, Falcon or Bucky are going to be taking up the mantle. But in the beginning, you're going to see somebody completely different that's going to be using the shield. Like
Richard said, it'll be cool to see how the chemistry is between Winter Soldier and the Falcon post Captain America, post Steve Rogers. See how they work together. See the missions they go on. And like we said, I heard it's going to be essentially a movie, but broken up into 6 episodes. So I'm excited to see, what they do with that show and how it goes. What about you, Richard? You excited to see Winter Soldier?
Yeah, it's like from the trailer that we saw a few weeks ago. It looks fun. Yeah. Looks adventurous. Looks, the action comedy, what you expect in a good series. So I don't know really what to expect, but it should be fun.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. And if the Falcon does end up, getting that shield, being the next Captain America, that would be amazing. Falcon, I think he's a cool character. He's been by Steve Rogers' side for a long time now. And, that kind of had us thinking about, who are some other characters that not many people know about that are, considered minorities or considered, people of color. And so we decided to have some fun, for Black History Month, to look into some of the background, some characters that are, like I said, considered maybe minorities or people of color. And I want to start off with Richard. I wanted to know who was somebody that you picked that maybe not everybody knows about, or for your character that you chose.
Cool. I'll give you 2 situations. I'll bring up something that's new and that's going to hit a little bit more home, being Filipino American myself, and then I'll kind of give you like a overall who's my favorite. All right. So doing some research, and there's not a lot of information on this, but Marvel is going to be expanding their heroes to the South Pacific, specifically the Philippines.
Nice.
Mabuhay. So there's going to be a couple of characters, 2 of them, but 3 of them really that's going to be, I guess, headline the situation. There's going to be a character named Wave, and from what I understand, that this character was already introduced in a video game. Wave is her real name is Pearl Pangan. She comes from the island of Visayan, and her abilities is that she's able to control seawater and manipulate the water around her. She's able to extract the water molecules around the air around her and use it to her advantage when battling people or other mutants or whatever. She might be like part Atlantean. So another character, his name is Sea Hunter. She's known by the name of Celia. Herself, she is from the island of Mindanao in the Philippines. And she too has the ability to manipulate water as well. Again, not too much information on her. There's going to be a group that they're involved with called the Triumph Division, and their leader is going to be named Red Feather. I guess the backstory is that with Iron Man, with Tony Stark's, when he was captured, I guess Pepper and someone else, they were trying to reach out, make alliances to help try to look for Tony during this time. And I guess this is just one of their alliances that they made to try to help them,
Oh, wow.
So that's the information I gathered.
So it's going to be like a potential show, or they're going to be introducing some other shows?
No, I think it's just more comic books now. I think this is going to be a comic book series, but again, there's not that much information on there.
Okay.
So, and then to end my part, I think my favorite person of color who's an action hero is Blade. Blade. I kind of talked about him before a little bit. Half human, half vampire. He's also known as a daywalker. And he's black. And he kicks a lot of butt, and it's pretty awesome. I love the movies. That's the only way I really know of Blade. Never really read the comic books. The first two movies were really awesome, very entertaining. Third movie was a little but
trash. But Wesley Snipes as Blade, man, he was epic, man. I love. The first two were great. The third one, Ryan Reynolds comes in, he always messes up stuff besides Deadpool. But yeah, the first two were amazing. I love Blade. Mike, Mr. Diaz, who's someone that you chose for your character?
I chose another Marvel character because I think not only because he's a person of color, but I think that he might play a role overall with how things are going. The person I picked was Jericho Drum, which is AKA Dr. Voodoo, AKA Brother Voodoo, AKA the Gunner of God.
So many AKAs, man.
Yeah, of course they all have different aliases and stuff like that, but basically he's a voodoo priest. He comes to the United States to become a doctor in psychology. And then he goes back home where his brother Daniel Drum is the local Hungun, I think is how it's pronounced, which is the voodoo priest. And he's under the teachings of the head voodoo priest for Haiti, because they're in Acacia. So his brother actually gets into a local war with a local worker, which is for hire voodoo priest, somebody that people hire to do things for them in those kind of mystic arts, I guess. And a brother ends up dying, Jericho, who tells him, hey, do this for me, which is finish the training so you can become, the voodoo priest for our local area. So he actually goes to the guy that was teaching him, learns more than what his brothers ever learned, and in order to make him stronger, the head guy, I forget his name, he actually brings back his brother and bonds the brother's soul to the living brother. So the brother, Jericho, has his brother's soul within him to help him, be stronger, be a better voodoo priest. Then he takes over and he becomes Dr. Voodoo because, he has an MD in psychology. So, of course, you got to give him a Dr. Voodoo. But then later on in the comics, he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. Everybody knows the Sorcerer Supreme is
Doctor Strange.
But in the comic books, he, for a point in time, becomes the scientist or Sorcerer Supreme, where he, fighting against all the stuff just like Doctor Strange does. He fights alongside Blade sometimes. He fights alongside the Avengers.
So he fights along with Blade, you said?
Yeah, he fights on because Blade fights Dracula.
Wow.
And, dark, mystic, supernatural stuff. And what better way to fight against Dracula than a voodoo priest, right? He's a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's a person of color. He educated as well as becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. So he goes from being your normal Haitian going to the United States to become somebody, gets educated, goes back, family business, revenges his brother, becomes full voodoo priest, but for good, ends up becoming the Sorcerer Supreme for a time, and fights a lot of great adventures. So
the character that I picked is a DC character. Is actually going to be a movie coming out I'm not sure when, because again, COVID pushes things back. But I picked Jon Stewart, who was a part of Green Lantern. I picked him because I heard a couple years ago that they're going to bring out a movie of Green Lantern where the pitch was that it's going to be kind of like Lethal Weapon in space, kind of a movie. And I thought that sounded really cool. Two guys, partnering up and doing some crazy stuff out in space. So the pitch is still that for the theme of that movie that they're going to do in the future. I don't believe they started filming yet, but they're supposed to have a big Green Lantern movie coming out, and also they're going to have a Green Lantern show coming out for HBO Max. So I'm not sure when that's going to premiere, but all this is being developed as we speak. And but I chose Jon Stewart, and a little bit of background on Jon Stewart is he was a U.S. Marine veteran. Some have his origin story being an architect. I don't know why they changed that, but he's either an architect or a U.S. Marine veteran. Then he was chosen by the Guardians to be the replacement of Hal Jordan and part of the Green Lanterns. And Hal Jordan was supposed to mentor him, kind of groom him into being his replacement. And at first, Hal Jordan didn't like him because he didn't like his attitude. He thought he had something against like authority and things like that. So Hal Jordan, they kind of bumped heads at first. And then they actually went on a mission together. Jon Stewart kind of proved himself worthy when he actually figured out a case and helped, save people. And then Hal Jordan saw that, okay, he does have what it takes to be a Green Lantern. And then I guess in the 80s, Hal Jordan actually retired from being a Green Lantern. And then Jon Stewart stepped up in Hal Jordan's place and he became the Green Lantern and started going on missions with Justice League. He even fell in love with another Green Lantern. I think her name is Kat. They end up getting married. So he's cool character, cool background story, but I really want to see how they do the movie, how they, develop his character. If they actually do that pitch of, Lethal Weapon in space. If they actually do that and do it the right way, I'll be excited to see that. But again, like this was like maybe 3 years ago or something like that. I heard about this. And it's still in development. I don't even think they started filming yet.
Is there a cast already?
No, that's the thing too. So the cast, they don't have a cast for it yet. And from what I'm hearing is that for the Green Lantern series on HBO Max, Hal Jordan is not even playing a big part in that. So I think they're kind of waiting for that to be for the big movie, the Green Lantern movie. But they have all the other characters of Green Lantern from other, planets and things like that. They're going to be part of the show, and they're going to start developing that first. I'm hearing news of it's going to be like a 10-season already established show with some of the characters already. They have cast for those characters already, so we'll see what they do. Again, DC sometimes they've done stuff where it's like, why do they do that? Hopefully they don't mess this up, but we'll see.
We're pretty sure they will.
They're gonna mess it up, you think?
I mean, look at those new pictures of the Joker.
Yeah. AKA
like
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, he looks like Marilyn Manson, man. I was still entertained with Suicide Squad and stuff, man. I could watch it again, but yeah, people were really, really disappointed with Justice League and Suicide Squad because they had such high hopes for it, and it just flopped. But they're doing the Suicide Squad too, so was it really that much of a flopper?
And there was a Birds of Prey, which I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that. I want to watch that.
I haven't seen it.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
Is it terrible?
Terrible.
I want to watch it. I'll watch it to check it out and see how it goes.
On HBO Max.
It is.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, those are our characters. Great choices, especially for Black History Month. Having a little bit of fun with some characters that maybe many people don't know about. But earlier Richard brought up Blade. Blade is a vampire, the Daywalker. And in the hospital, they have people who they consider as vampires, which are the phlebotomists. And just so happens that our Real Life Hero Award winner is a phlebotomist. and her name is Joanne Cruz. Again, she's a phlebotomist at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. She's been there for the past 5 years, and she got into the medical field because she said she wanted to help people. She has a heart to want to help and impact people's lives. As a phlebotomist, she is in the COVID rooms, getting the necessary labs for the patients. Of course, phlebotomists, they are people who aren't really appreciated or liked by patients because they have those needles, but they are an important part of patient care. Her and her husband actually both took phlebotomy at UCLA. Her husband actually works at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center as well, but now he works in scheduling and billing for the OR department. They are a hardworking couple. They are parents of a daughter, and Joanne is currently taking her prereqs and has hopes of getting to an RN program in the future. And so phlebotomists are some people that kind of get overlooked during this pandemic, but they are vital frontline workers as well. Joanne Cruz is our winner. Congrats, Joanne Cruz. Thank you for what you're doing. Continue to inspire people, continue to work hard. And she's a great person too, a great friend. Again, thanks, Joanne, for what you're doing. And so that concludes another episode of Superhero Sundays. Tune in next week where we're going to get into some cool things like anti-heroes. And of course, we're going to follow up on the WandaVision series that's going on. So thanks again. Good night. Take care.